Stacks on stacks, the walls rise high. Trade wind shifting in the sky. Ships of goods come and go. Caught in tides, they ebb and flow. Numbers dance in worldly halls. Echo loud through tariff walls. Coins that jingle lose their song. Who's to blame when things go wrong? Tower of terror spinning round, building walls from the lost and found. A trade war tango in disguise, hidden truth beneath the lies. Markets twitch and futures sway. What will break by end of day? Lines are drawn, but hearts unsure. What's the price to feel secure? Dance of deals, whispers cold. Fragile dreams bought and sold. Every step a double edge, balancing on a tightrope sledge. Tower of terror spinning round, building walls from the lost and found. A trade war tango in disguise, hidden truth beneath the lies.
All the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Saturday, April 5th, 2025. Welcome back to the program, folks. All the Neanderthals, canines, and right-wing podcasters around the world, welcome to the program, folks. Matthew Dixon over here trolling already. The Bulls cheated. No, they just managed to survive. That's all. Detlef Mulder, welcome to you. Anyway, welcome back to the program, folks. Let me start this off by saying someone earlier said some comment, and they've gone quiet in the chat, saying these dudes talking about people who are unsuccessful not coming. I never said any such thing. Do not try to put words in my mouth and mislead people here. I don't know if you're trolling or you misspoke. I never said that. Davi Root may have said that, but I didn't. So we're not going to tolerate that BS. So knock it off. If you want to complain about someone, then complain about the people who are actually saying it. Don't write that in my chat as if I said it. I never said any such thing. You're just here to cause chaos and be dishonest. I think so because you haven't responded in the chat. Anyway, welcome back to the program, folks. Thanks for being here. Exactly. End of story. Move on, folks. Yeah. We had Thomas Lombard. Exactly. End of story. But I'm not going to sit here and have people lie about what I said. I never said that. Okay. All right. Rock my lipstick. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Blackcurrant. Yeah. Someone said these dudes. Well, I was one of those dudes in the chat, so I don't appreciate people lying about what I said. I never said that. Exactly. That's already a problem. People, Newsroom 24 lying about what I said. The Daily Maverick not lying, but misrepresenting what I said. So anyway, all right, cool. Let's get to it. Yeah, Davi also said there's lots of opportunities in South Africa. Is correct. So because there are a lot of people here who are just interested in immigration, some of you, I'll just cover an immigration topic off of the bat. Right off the bat, boom, 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 boom. We'll talk about that. All right, so here we go. Top 5 reasons to move to Arizona. Not Pennsylvania. Top 5 reasons to move to Arizona, not Pennsylvania. So let's cover that very quickly. All right. Top 5 reasons to move to Arizona according to the Epic Times. If you're considering moving to the Grand Canyon state, it's essential to understand both the benefits and challenges that come with living there. Look at that view of the Grand Canyon. Talk about a hole. Talk about strip mining. Nature strip mined the Grand Canyon. Look at that. Arizona has become an increasingly popular relocation destination, especially for residents from California, Washington, and Texas, as well as South Africa. Its unique blend of affordability, economic opportunity, and natural beauty makes it an attractive option, but it's dry as a bone. If you're considering making the move, it's essential, just like South Africa, to understand the benefits and challenges. All right. The affordable cost of living compared to California, Arizona offers a much more affordable lifestyle. According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, Arizona's regional price parity was 99.9, indicating that it's equal to the national average. The average home value in Phoenix is $412,000, while in Los Angeles it's $973,000, more than 2 times as much. Booming job market. Arizona's job market is thriving, particularly in industries such as technology, healthcare, and manufacturing. Cities such as Phoenix, Tucson, and Scottsdale are home to large companies and startups. The economy has been growing at more than 2% annually. Job growth, that is. Has great weather year-round, but it gets brutally hot in the summer, folks, unless you live up in the mountains. With more than 300 days of sunshine, Arizona is a haven for those who appreciate warm weather. Phoenix and Tucson receive less than 12 inches of rain per year. For mild winters where temperatures rarely drop below 50 degrees, allow residents to enjoy outdoor activities year-round. It's important to prepare for the summer heat, which can reach 115 degrees during peak months. Yep. That's why they have air conditioning everywhere. Beautiful scenery and outdoor activities. From the Grand Canyon to Sedona's Red Rocks, Arizona offers a diverse range of stunning landscapes. Yes, outdoor enthusiasts can enjoy sights such as the Saguaro National Park, Horseshoe Bend, Antelope Canyon. And don't forget, of course, the Grand Canyon. 22 national parks and monuments, drawing visitors from around the world. Lower taxes. Has relatively lower taxes compared to states such as California. State's top income tax rate is 2.5%, which is lower than California's top rate of 13.3%. Property taxes are well below the national average. It's a tax-friendly environment. There you go. Reasons to visit and live in Arizona, not Pennsylvania. All right. Well, okay. The heat is not the same as KZN. KZN is humidity. That is a dry heat. Very different. Wendy says it was Davi Root that said this, but he was speaking from a place that he has a successful business and said personally he would not take up the offer. There was more said, so it's taken out of context. Exactly. People just freaking freak out and say stuff needlessly. Bergmeister just gave 70 Rand. It's a trap. Where are the top 5 reasons to move to Wyoming? There are no reasons to move to Wyoming. It's desolate. It's isolated. It's remote. The winters are horrible. The people are unfriendly. They have cowboys there and oil wells. You won't like it. Moving right along. Well, the Democratic Alliance must decide whether it will remain in the GNU, according to John Steenhuisen. Looks like he got a nice haircut there. Whether to stay in the GNU or not is a matter for the federal executive to decide. They'll continue to meet and assess the current situation. Steenhuisen also mentioned they received letters from business leaders expressing concern over the country's future, citing potential instability if a minority government were to form. Now, why is it only now, a year later, after I told all of you repeatedly that one of the options is the ANC could form a minority government? You don't have to have a coalition. The ANC could rule with the 40%. They just won't be able to get anything passed unless people come to their tent. Now the media tell you this. I told you this in June of last year. The options were a grand coalition, a coalition between the DA and the ANC, or the other options as I laid out last year, or finally, a minority government. So it would be a minority government. There could be a minority government, according to John Steenhuisen, that would function from parliamentary sitting to parliamentary sitting with uncertainty about whether there's a majority. There's no way to run. That's no way to run a government. We need to ensure that whatever it's doing is best for the country. No, that is the way governments run in Europe, often with a minority plurality government. So yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, the budget has brought the GNU to the brink. Oh, say it ain't so, Joe. Yes, the question over who will blink first is the DA or ANC Lockhorns over how to and who should govern South Africa, says Natasha Marian. Yes, the impasse over the budget exposed a fault line in the 7th administration. The ANC and DA do not agree on what the GNU is and how it should function. And that is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. My guest on, who was my guest? My guest is Athol Trollope. We were talking about this. The ANC and DA did not draw up an agreement. They gave up a statement of purpose. That's not an agreement. So there's no adjudication mechanism for this government. There's no government in national unity. It's a farce. It's been a farce since the outset. There are no mechanisms to resolve their differences. There are no mechanisms to reach an agreement. It's just a farce. It's been a farce all along. Civiway Garuba says that 96% of the pit latrines that have been identified have now been replaced. Well, eradicated, that doesn't mean replaced. Eradicated means they've been destroyed. Does that mean they put someplace for kids to go potty instead? I don't know. Let's take a look at the story. Well, there's been no government in national unity since 1994. Fumunjun. It's only been since June of 2024. Public Interest Law Center, Section 27 says a proper audit is necessary. They don't believe her. Civiway Garuba. Department of Basic Education successfully eradicated 96% of pit latrines identified in the 2018 audit under the Sanitation Appropriate for Education Initiative. SAFE. Basic Education Minister Civiway Garuba from the DA and Limpopo Education MEC Mavlunga Lurule Ramakanya just visited some of the schools in the Vemba district in Limpopo on Friday. In 2018, there were 3,372 schools with unsafe pit latrines. Today, there are 141 left. It's not a victory until they're all done. So, 141. Northwest, Free State, and Mpumalanga, 100% eradicated. Limpopo, 99.74% eradicated. One is left. KZN, 96% eradicated. So, there's still some left there. And about 45. And Eastern Cape, 93%. There's 90 plus there. So, there you go. Most of them in Eastern Cape. Not a surprise. Probably the poorest part of all South Africa. Well, tariff turmoil. South Africa opts for diplomacy over retaliating with tariffs. Wow. Diplomacy, a new thing for the ANC, something they're discovering. Shocker, shocker, shocker. The Daily Maverick reports that the government is navigating yet another storm with no clear strategic response to U.S. trade tariffs imposed this week and a planned review of bilateral relations as tensions continue to escalate. A day after President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs with South Africa facing a 30% import tariff, the government said it would not impose tariffs yet, warning that responding without understanding how the U.S. set the rate without first talking to the U.S. would be counterproductive. Wow. Trade Industry Minister Parks Talon, International Relations Minister Ronnie Lamola made the remarks yesterday during a joint media briefing in Midrand. Well, that's a bit of a shocker. They're acting like adults. It only took imposing tariffs on them for them to wake up. Salom Aleim, welcome to you for your subscription. It only took imposing tariffs to get South Africa's attention. Well, maybe now we'll get some progress. The tariffs will be devastating to the automobile industry in South Africa. Losing duty-free access to the U.S. market under Trump's America First regime will put the local automotive industry into a dangerous skid, says David Furlonger. South African motor industry was this week waiting for Trump to learn potential effects of that tariff. Well, it's 30%, folks. 30%. It will be devastating. High-value destinations. The main export markets for South Africa's vehicles components. Germany, which is most components. Belgium, most components. U.S. components and cars. Spain components. UK components. There you go. That's 34 billion rand to Belgium, 27.9 billion to the U.S. And two-way trade, when it comes to automobile partners, U.S., it's 56.8 billion rand with South Africa. That's a lot of coin, folks. Cornelia Fundamental made a correct statement there. The ANC only knows diplomacy when they get caught with their pants down. Now, here's an op-ed from News 24 journalist, not the editorial board, but journalist. So this is a nonsensical op-ed that I'm just going to eviscerate right now because it's full of lies and it attacks people. So I'm going to read it to you. Boer crooner Steve Hofmeyer has filled stadiums performing Neil Diamond tributes, but when only 8,000 tickets were sold to a concert to celebrate his 60th birthday, the promoters were forced to pull the plug on, well, they said something nasty there. My thought was, instead of first thought, was that perhaps his fans were too busy applying for refugee status to celebrate his milestone. After all, Neil Diamond claimed he was helping close to 70,000 Afrikaners get asylum in the United States. First off, reporters from News 24, you're frauds. No one's getting asylum in America, you dumbass dingbat doorknobs. There's no asylum. So you're already asshattery in the first paragraph, or second paragraph. All right? In your snarky, disrespectful comment to Steve Hofmeyer, yellow card. Your factually incorrect statement about asylum, red card. That's your second yellow card. You're out. Not a 20-minute red card. You're out. You're out of the contest. So, this Neil Diamond, mind you, isn't the voice behind Sweet Caroline, but rather the disinformation spreading proprietor of a one-man show, the South African Chamber of Commerce, USA. How many people work for the Chamber of Commerce in USA? How many? Can you answer that question, News 24? Before you make such a ludicrous claim, tell us how many people actually work there. Can you tell us that? You can't. You can't, because you're just a blathering bunch of idiots writing this garbage. U.S. or South African Chamber, South African Chamber of Commerce, USA. Let's look it up. Okay. Okay. So, one-man show. Their advisory board. There's already another person there on their board. Who else they got there? Executive committee. The executive committee has Neil Diamond, Miss Odendahl, and Miss Niker. So that's already 3 people, plus the other advisory board, that's 4, plus Neil, so that's at least 4 people. And, I know where they're getting from, because their Chamber of Commerce website says they only have 0 to 1 employee. Well, that's not smart. They should fix their website. That's probably where they're getting from. But I challenge them. All right, so back to where I was. Okay, so that. Contrary to what the menace Neil Diamond claims, only around 8,000 South Africans expressed official interest in the U.S. refugee process. Perhaps these 8,000 refugees were the same 8,000 who bought tickets to Hofmeier's concert, and this was meant to be their final Opskop before the big trek to becoming African Americans. Well, first off, the snarky bullshit aside, let's just peel that apart. 8,000 South Africans expressed official interest in U.S. refugee progress. That information comes from a New York Times article that said 8,200 to be exact, and that information was illegally leaked to the New York Times by someone at the Department of State in Washington, D.C. So the reliability of that information is already in question, for starters, because the person who did it is a criminal by disclosing information that's not publicly available. So the criminal gave information to the New York Times, so the information is questionable, but I'll accept that that's a figure. That is those who have expressed official interest. What they don't tell you is that there's no way to express official interest in this program. The embassy in Pretoria created an email address on the 10th of February just to deal with any questions people might have about it. They're taking that list and considering that to be official interest. Many people never wrote to that list. Neil Diamond never claimed that he was giving a list of people who had expressed official interest. These are liars at News 24. They're disgraceful. Koos Becker, you should be ashamed of yourself for funding this sort of bullshit. Neil Diamond never claimed that anybody that they gave the 67,042 names to the American Embassy in Pretoria were official interest. They were people who contacted them and said they're interested in it. Therefore, they don't do anything with it. They're giving the information to the American government. So more fake news here. More fake editorial. A week, they say, is a long time in politics. This phrase was famously on display in Parliament. Anyway, now they talk about Gate McKenzie. So they're jumping around Gayton's goldfish memory. Then party playlist politics. Lesotho hits the jackpot in Trump's trade game show. The Tangerine Tornado. Well, that's not very disrespectful, is it now? I guess I could just call you the dumbass asswipes at News 24. You want to call our president the Tangerine Tornado? We'll call you the dumbass asswipes. News 24's dumbass asswipes have commented today that managed to baffle the world's finance minister Wednesday night as he debuted his best Oprah impression yet, handing out tariffs as if they were free cars. You get a tariff, you get a tariff, everybody gets a tariff. Optimists initially assumed these charges were based on some grand economic principle involving existing tariffs or trade barriers. Wrong. White House released a mathematical formula which experts mistook for an inside joke or something written by a hyena stumbling over a keyboard. As it turns out, the formula is simple. It's absurd. Take the U.S. trade deficit in goods with a country, divide it by the total goods imported, slice it in half, sprinkle it with executive whimsy, and voila, your own trade tariff. Accurate to the nearest nonsense. Well, obviously, these people are idiots. These people are idiots. The formula actually isn't how they came up with it. It's much more complex than that. So you're relying on the BBC to give information which is not accurate. The trade tariffs are a combination of currency manipulation and also artificial barriers and physical barriers to our trade. For instance, South Africa has a large tariff on poultry imports. That was calculated into it. So anyway, and they go on. Anyway, look, these asshattery from News 24. Disgraceful. Well, the MK party, bored with nothing to do, no members to kick out this week, so they've decided to protest the arrival of Volodymyr Zelensky to South Africa. They didn't protest Cyril Ramaphosa going to Ukraine to visit with Zelensky. Mkoto Isizwe, Secretary General Floyd Savamba, said the party plans to protest the arrival of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, whom he called a puppet president when he visited South Africa next week. Okay. The MKA party strongly condemns Mr. Ramaphosa's misguided decision to extend invitation to Zelensky, a figure widely discredited among progressive and non-aligned nations, he told the media. Dude, he's widely discredited amongst conservative and real nations and real political movements, not your leftist progressive garbage. Get a haircut there, buddy, and shave. You look kind of scruggly. Look how you got pubic hair on your face. Shavamba said the party views the invitation as clear alignment with European imperial interests and an affront to South Africa's historical position of non-alignment anti-imperialism. Shut up, Floyd Shavamba. Oh, dear God. What a clown. We can't take that guy seriously. Oh, my goodness. I don't know who Buster B is, but give him a timeout. Give him a timeout. He can't learn to follow the rules. Tit for tat with U.S. a race to the bottom, says Minister Parks Tao. In a rare moment of clarity, South Africa's Trade Minister Parks Tao acted like an adult. He said it would be counterproductive race to the bottom in a world where trade protectionism is increasingly prevalent. He was briefing reporters along with Ronnie Lamola. Asked if South Africa would respond to U.S. tariffs in kind, Parks said imposing reciprocal tariffs without understanding how the U.S. arrived at their tariffs would be counterproductive and trigger a race to the bottom. So, a previously scheduled trip was put on hold because the government learned tariffs would be announced on April 2nd and wanted to study the tariffs. So once again, we go from February 7th to March 7th. April 7th is around the corner, 2 days away. It's 2 months, and South Africa has taken no tangible action to engage the U.S. government. Getting their ass hat full of an ambassador sacked and sent home PNG'd for his undiplomatic behavior, calling the President of the United States the leader of a white supremacist move around the world, and calling Americans racist. We allowed that shithead to stay in our country. Well, he's gone now. And now they've kicked out the High Council in Los Angeles for her behavior with the Islamic community. So, wow. Now South Africa is finally starting to learn what diplomacy is, instead of friends and family only on Friday. Fikile Mbalula has turned his attention from Donald Trump to the DA, saying they were disrespectful on the budget. No, I think you're just juvenile, Fikile. Now, see, Fikile's beard's much smoother and clearer, and it looks better. Look at that, African National Congress. There's nothing national about your Congress. It's the African Cater Congress. We need to change the ANC's name from the ANC to the ACC. It's the African Cater Congress, folks. It's the ACC. The African Cater Congress Secretary General Fikile Mbalula criticized the DA for not supporting the approval of the 2025 budget, calling it arrogant and disrespectful. The arrogance of the DA needs to be taken on. They are arrogant. That's all I can say. They're arrogant. They have no respect. All that matters for them is winning. That's not the time for winning because we all didn't win elections. Arrogance. Nearly 900,000 South Africans responded to the expropriation without compensation bill. 97% of them were negative, opposing it. Parliament passed it overwhelmingly. Cyril Ramaphosa signed it into law, completely disregarding civic engagement. The Bella Bill, same situation, same result. Who's arrogant here? It's the African Cater Congress. The African Cater Congress. Well, South Africa is accused of knowing about the Hamas attack before it happened. They look at Ronnie Lamola, looking like he's from South Sudan in that picture. Very uncomplimentary photograph with a dark jacket, looking very dark and very South Sudanese and not very South African in that photo. But Ronnie says, we don't know anything about that. We have nothing to do with it. International Relations Cooperation Minister Little Ronnie Lamola dismissed reports suggesting that South Africa knew in advance about Hamas's plan to launch an attack. I want to state again categorically that as the South African government, we were not aware. Now, the problem with that story, of course, Ronnie wasn't the foreign minister. It was Naledi Pandor. Has he had a conversation with Naledi? With Jabba the Hutt? Pandor? Has he talked to her? I don't know. Maybe he did. But we believe you about as much as we believe, I don't know, communist. Well, Newsroom Africa is upset when they're busy not maligning and lying about what I've said. They're busy getting their reporters attacked by the police, apparently. Newsroom Africa is to take action against a police officer involved in an altercation of one of its reporters, Obile Madala, while covering a drug bust in Midrand. They condemn the action of the officer allegedly manhandled Madala and her camera operator during the incident. They expressed strong disapproval on their X account. Newsroom Africa strongly condemns the actions of South African Police Service officer Colonel Malate against our reporter. The altercation took place during a report about a successful drug bust. Malate can be heard on the video saying to the officer, "Don't pull me, you can't manhandle us." Well, she can be heard on there. Can we see it? Can we trust that actually happened? Well, I'll accept her story as factual. Moving along to Uganda, Yoweri Museveni has visited South Sudan. The near octogenarian is in South Sudan. The visit follows mediation missions by the AU and the East African regional body trying to de-escalate the crisis. Museveni told reporters that he would hold talks aimed at strengthening bilateral relations and enhancing cooperation between our two nations. Salva Kiir said the two leaders would discuss current political developments in the country. The standoff between Kiir and Machar, who led opposing forces in the 2013-2018 civil war that killed hundreds of thousands, has led the UN to warn that the world's young nation would be on the brink of an all-out conflict along ethnic lines. Well, what's new? The country's been at war almost since the moment it became independent. There are children in South Sudan. They can't behave like adults, fighting over the spoils, getting people killed in large numbers. Ivory Coast cocoa farmers expecting a good mid-year crop. Adequate moisture levels in most of Cote d'Ivoire's growing regions from April to September have resulted in a good crop. The quality will be higher, leading to larger and longer crops. Harvesting has begun, but many are hesitant to sell their first beans, expecting the farm gate price to rise above the current 1,800 Central Africa francs, or 54.36 Rand per kg. That's not that much money, 54 Rand per kg. Well, British car maker Jaguar has decided to pause Rover sales. Jaguar Rover pauses shipments to U.S. Luxury automaker faced 25% tariffs and said it was halting shipments in April as it addresses the new trading terms. Jaguar Land Rover, the British luxury car maker, said on Saturday it was pausing shipments to U.S. in April, days after Trump imposed tariffs. In the last 3 months of 2024, they shipped 38,000 cars to the United States. Trump administration just imposed a 25% tariff. The United States is the largest single country export market for British cars, earning them $8.3 billion in 2023. That's 1/10 of Britain's overall exports in goods. So 1/10 of Britain's total exports are cars to the U.S. Wow. The Senate has passed Donald Trump's agenda, budget blueprint, after late night voting session. That's a pretty picture of the Capitol building. The resolution now faces up, well, it goes to the House, actually. The U.S. Senate in early morning hours of April 5th approved the budget blueprint to advance President Trump's agenda after a marathon voting session. Under the Rules of Reconciliation process, which is being used to pass the sweeping package, all amendments must be considered, leading to voting sessions that went well into the night known as the vote-a-rama. Yep. And in a final vote of 51 to 48, with Republicans Susan Collins and Rand Paul of Kentucky betraying the budget, it was passed. The centerpiece is making the permanent tax income tax cuts that were in the Jobs Act of 2017. They're set to expire this year, so Trump wants them extended. They should be permanent, and that's in the bill. Here's what Trump's tariffs look like around the world, folks. He announced tariffs on April 2nd, and look at all those nations going to get hit. Maryland's legislature has approved a bill creating a commission to study slave reparations. The commission would consider giving slaves' descendants money compensation, down payment assistance, debt forgiveness, and higher education aid. And this is a racist law. This is a racist concept by a racist House of Delegates, by a racist administration, by a bunch of racist, anti-white racists in Maryland. They're racist. No one alive today had anything to do with that. No one alive today bears any responsibility for paying for that. No. I was born in Maryland. State run by morons. Unbelievable. Ben just gave out 50 more memberships. Thank you for that. So, the Maryland General Assembly gave final approval on April 2nd. The legislature authorized the state to form a commission to study the possibility of providing reparations, except as punishment for crime. Slavery was abolished in the United States with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. So, why are you going to make people pay reparations for something that was legal the world over? Shut up, morons in Maryland. The State House approved the bill 101 to 36, and the Senate passed it 32 to 13, because the state is full of demon rats. A federal judge has made the ludicrous determination that Donald Trump's America First policy, hang on a second, his America First policy is racist. Federal judge finds Trump's America First slogan is racist towards immigrants. What a bunch of nonsense. President Trump's immigration policy, like most of his foreign policy, is saturated with references to his campaign slogan, America First. And a federal judge this week said it shows illegal and racist animus towards immigrants. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The racism is your assumption that immigrants are all people of color or being discriminated against. You are a fraud, Edward Chen. Judge Edward Chen blocked the Department of Homeland Security from revoking special deportation amnesty for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan migrants, at least in part because Secretary Noem justified the decision by citing President Trump's America First agenda. Chen, an Obama appointee to the court in Northern California, said the term had an inference of animus given the historical connotation of the phrase. Well, I'm going to give you not an inference, but a flat-out categorical statement that you're a moron, Judge Chen. You're a moron. President Trump's commitment to putting Americans in America First has only to do with his love for our country and our citizens, not animus against anyone, said Kush Desai, an Indian, in the White House spokesman. Yep. After San Francisco Obama Judge Chen ruled it's illegal for president to put America first, which country is Judge Chen putting first? Yep. Yeah, so this is another judge needs to be impeached. Well, the New York Times claims that President Trump is weakening cybersecurity, and that's simply not true. Those of us who actually know what happens in the cybersecurity realm know that that's not true. The firing of the head of the National Security Agency was only the latest move that has eroded the country's fortifications against cyber attacks, especially those targeting elections. So says David Sanger and Nick Corasanti. When President Trump abruptly fired the head of the National Security Agency and U.S. Cyber Command on Thursday, it was the latest in a series of moves that have torn away at the country's cyber defenses, just as they're confronting the most sophisticated and sustained attacks in the nation's history. The commander, General Timothy Hall, had sat atop the enormous infrastructure of American cyber defenses until his removal, apparently under pressure from the far-right Trump loyalists and South African Laura Loomer. He had been among the American officials most deeply involved in pushing back on Russia, dating to his work countering Moscow's interference in the 2016 election. His dismissal came after weeks in which the Trump administration swept away nearly all the government's election-related cyber defenses beyond the secure NSA command centers at Fort Meade. At the same time, the administration shrank much of the nation's complex early warning system for cyber attacks, a web through which tech firms work with the FBI. Well, this is all poppycock and nonsense. First off, we don't have national elections. So the country's cyber-related defenses for elections, what the hell is that? There are no cyber-related defenses. We don't have national elections. That's bullshit. They have policies that were thrown out because each state sets its own election. They had guidance. That's not sweeping aside cyber defenses. That's a lie. Next, the attribution of this to Laura Loomer is comical. People giving her credit for, them getting fired. Next, do you think that General Hall is the only officer in the entire U.S. military that's capable of leading Cyber Command or the National Security Agency? What an arrogant bunch of asshats. A lot of people are capable of leading NSA. I'm capable of leading NSA. I worked there. I could run that organization. Yeah, a lot of people can run it, including people in the private industry. Military officers can run it too. General Hall is not the figure that's needed there. In fact, General Hall has been involved with this for too long. It's time for him to move on. And one of the problems we've had is from the very outset is that the commander of NSA is also the commander of Cyber Command, or was the deputy commander when it was founded. That's nonsensical. It doesn't work. You have to devote your time to the National Security Agency and intelligence collection, not cyber defense. It doesn't work. You can work in close coordination with them, but you don't have time to do that. Trust me, I worked in both fields. It's stupid. Stupid. So, continuing with that story, the New York Times ran another story. Firing of National Security Agency chief rattles lawmakers. General Timothy Hall, who also head of Cyber Command, was one of several national security officials fired on the advice of conspiracy theorists. Now, the problem with this story, folks, is that last night I found a story from December last year which said that the Trump administration was going to remove the director of the National Security Agency and they were going to divide responsibilities between Cyber Command and NSA. There was no discussion of Laura Loomer. She had nothing to do with this. So this is just nonsense of people trying to denigrate the Trump administration, lie about what's going on. People have no appreciation for the intelligence community whatsoever. The tulips were sad. I took them away. Well, U.S. uranium production is up to its highest level in 6 years. Production of uranium in the United States registered a gain last year following several years of subdued output, according to the Energy Information Administration, which, by the way, is a fantastic source of information for energy, especially oil. Companies in the United States produced more uranium concentrate in 2024 than any year since 2018 after a sustained period of higher prices spurred production. Production had crashed over the past decade. Between 2010 and 2014, the country produced 3.5 to 5 million pounds of uranium. This fell to 2.2 to 3.5 per year, but now it's back up. Now it's backed up. In 2018, it actually dipped below 1.5 million pounds, falling to less than 500,000 pounds from 2019 onwards. That's almost nothing. So we're back in producing uranium. That's good. Next generation nuclear reactors are getting ready to come online for the U.S., which has a huge demand for electricity owing to data centers, artificial intelligence, and crypto. Vlam USA gave 70 Rand super chat for the tulips. Well, they only last for so long. I'm going to go to the outdoor place a little bit later on, so we'll see. Manufacturing plant in Texas plans to power its production with an advanced nuclear reactor instead of natural gas. There you go. So nuclear reactors are coming back in vogue. The Greens are pushed aside. Protests against Donald Trump today. Events to be held nationwide, with D.C. likely to be the largest, say the organizers. Nationwide protests are set for today to oppose the Trump administration policies. Organizers say favor billionaires over everyday people. How so? How so? Eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government helps rich people. Ending subsidies helps rich people. Putting tariffs on imports harms who exactly? The protests are coordinated by a coalition that includes some unions as well as progressive groups focusing on protecting Social Security, Medicaid, and other essential programs. Well, first off, there's no threat to Medicaid, Medicare, and other social programs. You're just morons. You're just dumbass dingbat doorknobs. There's no threat to them. Stopping non-existent people who are 350 years old from getting benefits is hurting people on Social Security? No. You're just liars. You're just liars. Just like the same liars who protested when President Trump was inaugurated in 2017. Walking around looking like bloody vaginas. You're sick people. You need help. You need help. President Trump and his ally Elon Musk are taking everything they can get their hands on and daring the world to stop them. We're taking the streets. Taking what? What exactly has Elon Musk gotten? He's working for free. Donald Trump's working free. You morons are out there protesting people working for free. Wow. More than 500,000 people signed up for the hands-off events on Friday. By Friday. They're scheduled to take place in 50 states and a few international locations, including Canada. Well, good. We don't give a crap you protesters in Canada. Dance all day long. Toy all you want. Events are meant to attract people from across many demographics. Well, it's not going to work. Not going to work. Idiots. Idiots. There you go, folks. That's the news for today. I did promise to come on and do the news. 564 people currently here, just 373 likes. Come on, man. 373 likes.
That was easy.
Real Wesley Smith said, the best channel by far, other channels don't come close. Well, tell a few million of your friends that. Thank you. Well, I can do a poll on the beard. We do them, and I usually know how they're coming out. Let's see. There's the poll. Poll's up. All these countries have been treating the USA like a charity organization. Now when the U.S. asks for a half-back negotiation, they're freaking out. It's a joke. Yep. They should not call them nuclear. The name is deceiving. It makes them sound dangerous, when in fact not as bad as they sound. Just call them clean energy. That's the clean energy tower. Yeah. Yeah, please like. That's not much to ask for, folks. Like the video. And if you haven't become a subscriber, please become one. Let's see how we're doing with subscribers. This has got to be the best day I've had where I haven't produced a video. We've gained, let me see where we finished last night. Hang on a second here. Sorry, this shirt is itching me here. It's itching my boob. All right, so last night we ended at the 4th. Okay, on the 5th we started. We ended at 69,964. So 36 plus 738. That's 768. 774. So we've gained 774 subscribers today, and I didn't produce a video. That's momentum builds on itself, folks. By the way, I want to thank everybody. Yesterday was the single biggest day in the history of the channel, almost by a factor of double. We had 420,692 views on Friday. That is awesome, folks. That's incredible. 420,000 views. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let me take a look at something here. Somebody said something the other day. I want to see if they're correct. And I didn't claim it. One of my viewers claimed it. So let me look for... Okay, let's take a look. 1.4 million subscribers for that channel. Oh, okay. Well, someone claimed that I'm getting Tim Pool-like views. I am indeed. He has 1.4 million viewers. Okay, I'm looking at his stats. 1.4 million subscribers. Okay, so I'm going to compare this. I'm going to compare this for you guys. Okay, I'm going to do a screen capture. Okay, of these stats. I'm going to show you. Okay. But somebody said I'm getting Tim Pool-like views, and someone else rubbished that, and I said I didn't claim it. The person who made the claim was correct. They were correct. I didn't know this. So here we are. Dismiss that. I'm going to show you this real quick. This is interesting. I just took a look because that argument came up yesterday. Okay? So, the numbers in green are the number of views. Okay? So let me get this up on the screen. This is going to be fascinating, folks. Stick with me. This is interesting. So Corey just got a super chat, and let me get the alert box back on. Thank you, Corey, for the 14 rand. Change kill the kiss to provoke racist. Yeah, he did do that. All right, so let me get. This is fascinating. In fact, where the hell's it at? Okay, here we go. Okay, so hang on. I wish I could do this probably side by side. I got to make a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, folks, I'm going to show you Tim Pool's numbers. It has the date from March 23rd because they do a trailing 2 weeks on this through today. And then has their subtotal, subscribers. If there's some reason they can't report their subscribers on the channel. Thank you for 35 Rand, Erica Olafir. All right, so you're going to see what Tim Pool's been getting for views. You ready? Okay, look at this. Someone said I had similar numbers to Tim Pool. Actually, I have better numbers than Tim Pool. I had no idea this is true. So here you go. All right, let me full screen that. Okay. All right, so on the 23rd of March, he had 53,000 views. 42, 35,000, 80, 173, 152, 75, 108, 117, 208, 254, 161, 196, and 59,000 views today. That's Tim Pool, okay? That's Tim Pool. There you go. See it over there? 200,000, 100,000, 75. That's him for the last 2 weeks. So here's my channel. 109,000, 120,000, 147,000, 137,000, 146,000, 166,000, 217,000, 151,000, 91,000, 162, 138, 88, 114, and 319,000. That blows away Tim Pool. That blows away Tim Pool. That's not on level with Tim Pool. Whoever said that was right. Whoever said that I was on level with Tim Pool was amazing. I didn't even realize that. Wow. Wow. Matthew, Tim Pool's based. Yeah, I guess he loves his Dan Quarter beanie. What's shaky tonight? Personally believe the only way my kids will have a better life is if they take up refuge officers Wild Bear Prepper. Melanie Van Heerden and Rolinda say number one. Well, thank you for that. Tim Pool. He's an American. Very famous. Big channel, 1.4 million subscribers. Well, every situation is different for impeachment. States have their own rules for impeachment. Judges can be removed for cause too in some states. Federal judges, I don't know the rules, so I don't know the answer on that. But I know they can impeach them. Thank you for being so passionate about South Africa, says Joshua Ruda. Well, my pleasure. Van, oh my goodness, Van. Congrats, you deserve all the recognition. Van, I hope you're not bankrupting yourself, man. Thank you for the 700. All these memberships you're giving out and some big super chats. Thank you for that. It's really kind of you. Shawnee Grows. Can you believe that, Shawnee? I have more views than Tim Pool. I can't believe that. Now, it's a short period of time. He's got 100 millions of views, but I don't have that, you know, so I've reacted to Colonel Tim Pool a couple times. I have him on the Timcast. Well, he should have me on there, Tony. I mean, look how we're growing. Look at how we're growing. We're outperforming him. You guys keep coming, and people will take notice, and then maybe we'll wind up in some of these spots, you know? You never know. I might be on The View. Oprah Winfrey. Colonel Wyatt, are you really the right-wing racist that everybody says you are? Whoopi, did you swallow a frog? I'll be on The View. Joy Behar. Colonel Wyatt. Oh, what's your position in Israel? Why don't you think Israel's evil? Well, Joyless Behar, given that you're a Jew, what's your opinion on Israel? I'm curious about that. Yeah, Mr. Van is a superstar. 1440, your message was blocked by YouTube. I've just unblocked it. Whoopi's gone? Oh, I don't know. I don't watch the Dystopian View. I knew she was on there. Not The View, says Renell. No, I wouldn't go on there. But there's always Dave Rubin. There's always Tim Pool. There's always Loud with Crowder. There's always Dinesh D'Souza. There's always Tucker Carlson. Not getting calls from any of these people. Strangely enough, my dear friend, as people call him, Ernst Rhodes, hasn't told them about me at all. Hasn't got me in interviews with those guys. Chris Smith says the Bulls 32 buying a 22. Yes, we did a live broadcast, color commentary, play-by-play on Rugby Ascent earlier. Benny Johnson, there you go. Is Benny Johnson in Pennsylvania, Pierre Rousseau? Benny Johnson's in that song. I think it's time for that right now, don't you guys? Donnie Fenter, thank you. Isn't it? Do you think it's time? I mean, we're all in a good mood right now, right? It's a Saturday. We've done the news. We got a few minutes here. We're getting close to 500 likes and some super chat revenues coming in. I think it's time. I think it's time to make your cats run out of the room. You ready for that? Chris Henning, welcome to you. What do you think? Do you think it's time, folks? The biggest vote getter is don't shave the beard. But I added in just a trim. So, he's in Florida. Joe Rogan's the other one. Joe Rogan, man, we'd have millions of subscribers. All right, we're going to do it. Turn down your volume. Get ready, folks. Get ready. Turn down your volume. Well, or pump up the volume. You can pump up the volume if you want. You can pump up the volume if you want, folks. Here we go. Get ready. Get ready. All right. I have to get it over there. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Benny Johnson, Roseanne Barr, Kevin Sorbo, Trump's daughter-in-law. Man, a lot of people in that video. A lot of influencers, social media folks in there, along with Tom McDonald. That's his big song out now. You can't cancel all of us, but you're more than welcome to try. All righty, folks. Let's see what we got here. Peter Fundavenda says, if I shave my beard, the older ladies get jealous because I'll attract the younger ones. I don't want to sound anti-Semitic, but is it always the small hat people in academia, for the college and law promoting? No, most of the people promoting those parade values are white Anglo-Saxon fools. Yep. Soki, yeah, cowboy boots on. There you go, Internet. Listen to his other songs. Well, he has lots of messages in all his songs. Yeah, the Tom McDonald's pretty good. Yep. Internet is just data. You're right, Arno. It's just data. That's all it is. And you are more than welcome to try. That's right, folks. What a great song. And there's another super chat. This one from Elizabeth Bezuidenhout. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, too big to rig now. YouTube can't keep hiding the facts, says Kurtz. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, look at it, guys. I mean, I just showed you the stats, right? Your beard's an integral part of your persona. Yeah, no, I know it is. So when I shave it, I might lose everybody. German kids now on par with Islamist immigration urchins. Numbers do not lie. Yep, they're being outbred by immigrants. My personal opinion: do what you feel. You feel with your beard. We came to know you with it, but do what you. Well, I only have the beard for reasons. I've never had a beard. It's a weird thing for me. I am thinking of dyeing my hair. Should I dye it blonde, ginger, or purple? What color should I dye my hair? Should I dye my hair? What do you guys say? Somebody's mowing. Oh, damn it! Don't be mowing yet. Last year I had to mow in March. Now here's April. I haven't had to mow yet, but it's gone. Charmaine says, if the beard's gone, I'm gone. Well, shame on you, Charmaine. That's not fair. Erica Olafia, I missed your 35 rand super chat. Thank you for that. Okay. No, purple. Purple. Red. Not dyeing it red. A while ago, when the bulls were in Durban, scientists discovered there were no sharks close to Durban Beach. Something scared the sharks and withdrew the deep sea. Tiny Player says green. Eben Olshausen says no. No more super chats till the beard is gone. The bikini girl slot is filled. Oh, please. Get the best of both worlds. He should have put you in. You're more famous than Benny. I like Benny, but I'll watch you first and catch up Benny after. Sure, you must have better stats than Benny. I don't know. So let me look for Benny Johnson. Let me see what his stats are. Let me take a look at Benny Johnson's stats. Okay. Benny Johnson. He has 3 million subscribers. So he's almost in the top 1,000 YouTubers. At 2,960,000, he's at 1,098. So that's not bad. He has 3 billion views. Oh, good Lord. Oh, he's got me beat. Oh, yeah. He's beat me by a wide margin. He's got 4-6 million views per day. I've got that in a month. No, he's got me beat. His daily average is 5 million views. Benny Johnson's got me smoked. I'm nowhere near as famous as Benny Johnson. Wow. Okay. Yeah. He's had 45 million views in the last 28 days. Yeah, Benny Johnson's got me smoked, man. Nowhere near as, but surprisingly, I'm ahead of Tim Pool. Somebody said that was true, and I didn't know it was true. Wow. Someone rubbished that when they said it. Levin, thank you for your super chat. I would have said purple because I've done that before, but nowadays I'm afraid that would look too woke. Yeah, it does look woke. You also look like a tiny, even the dudes look like a tiny when you get purple hair. I don't know that I'm more famous than Benny, Amanda, but thank you, Ananda. Thank you for that. Can your neighbors hear you singing? I hope not. It's daytime. I don't think they can. The sound doesn't carry the same as it does at night when there's less in the air. The air's thinner. So, yeah, sound carries more at night. Keep the beard, you rock it great. Well, thank you, G. Sawyer. But should I grow it back to homeless level? Steve Nordkia says, nice one. I'm getting better at singing this song. Well, that's because I'm throwing in the country part. Because you can't cancel all of us. Internet ain't real life. You can take my job for something I might have said online. If you think you're changing me, you're out your mind. I say, boy, foghorn leghorn. Love it, I love it, I love it. 533 people here, 26 likes. Some super chat revenue, and Van has done the more new members thing. That went crazy again, too. Thank you for that. Grow the beard as far as you can, proudly male. Well, Pierre, it was down to my navel before. When I came to South Africa, it was looking pretty long. It got longer than that before I trimmed it back. But the South African look was pretty long. People remember that. Let's find a photograph of that. See some of the old videos on the channel. Let's just go to where my camera pictures, August of 2022. Oh, here you go. This is a video. I turn that down. It's kind of high. This is a video. This is just before I went to South Africa. This is a video. It's on TikTok, so here you go. Let's just be honest here, folks. The 2021 municipal election is an absolute disaster for everybody except the Freedom Front Plus, the Inkatha Freedom Party. And honestly, it wasn't as bad for the economic freedom fighters as everybody makes out to be. The bottom line is this. The ANC lost 32% of the voters it had in 2016 elections for councils. The DA, trying to paint lipstick on a pink and talk about the ANC dropped below 50%, they lost 32% of their voters. The Economic Freedom Fighters lost 2%, but the Inkatha Freedom Party gained 1%, and the Freedom Front Plus gained 138%. But the bottom line is not numbers of votes, it's what you have for seats. The ANC lost 12% of the seats, 618. The DA lost 17% of the seats, 298. The Inkatha Freedom Party gained 26, 112, and the Freedom Front Plus gained 153. Winner, chicken dinner, Freedom Front Plus, 228%. Yeah, folks, that's what the beard looked like in August of 2022, just before I came to South Africa. By the time I finally trimmed it, it was down to my navel. Yeah, it was majestic face mullet. It was indeed, Ernst. Viking. That's right, man. I'm a Viking. That's what that is, man. It's a Viking DNA coming out strong. So you didn't do the Viking beads. I had the beads. They're here. I've just never did it. I couldn't figure out. I don't have any help. No one was doing it for me. Yeah, I saw that. He sent me a thing and said, congratulations, 5th anniversary. I don't think that's correct. Maybe it is. But I called in. So maybe what he means by met is I actually came on the program and called in. Because you could see me on camera and I was at home. The first time I was on the program, I called in and I was out walking. And yeah, and we talked for a long time. You sure this is you? Well, tiny players, that's a problem. My passport from 2014 was clean shaven. I was still in the Army. My tourist passport. And so when I go to the UK, on the trips I made to the UK, they have that machine that reads it. And they're like, go over here. I'm like, no, it's not going to work. Just go over here. So I go over and I go to the machine. I put the passport down and it tries to read my face. It can't recognize because the beard was all the way down to my navel. Full face. I look like a freaking Chewbacca. And so the thing, just red. I'm like, I can't go there. And they're like, so I waste like 10 minutes. Then they make me get in line. Then let me go to the front. They make me in the back of the line. Bastards. I hate UK immigration there. And then every time I come out, the South Asians, like I'm some sort of threat to UK. Why are you here? Because I heard your economy's in trouble. I came to spend money. They get all snicky. Yeah. No, so my passport now has a picture of me with a beard on it. So... my passport at? There it is. It's along with my big South African plug adapter. You got to carry these things around like crazy. Your big plugs, which are much better so you don't bend outlets, but these are huge mains. So they're hard to come by, those things. When you do, they're very expensive. I got this from Ellie's back in the day. Yeah, so now I've got my photo. There you go. So there's my photo with a beard on it. So all right, so hopefully that'll get me through the machine next time I go through it. Anyway, yeah. I don't eat watermelon. I find watermelon to be distasteful. I don't like it at all. You could have fit into our Boer senior men's group with that long beard. Looks better now, though. Don't shave. Yeah, well, I need to trim it up a little bit. It's uneven now. I didn't do a good job trimming it last time. I trim it myself. People are like, what kind of beard oil you use? I don't use beard oil, man. It's just me, all natural. So it's too long since Boss Fuck. Have you seen your twin tube yet, Colonel? It's Wayne Turner. Don't know who that is. There was load shedding. You could not shave when you were in South Africa. Yeah, that's true. I couldn't, but that's what. Now I got to shave all this down here. From here up has to be shaved now. It's kind of annoying. What plant should Colonel get next? Well, I have to go outside and take a photograph of my daffodils. I have a tree in the front corner, and sometimes when I do videos out on my porch, you can see that tree behind me. It's in bloom now. Like in the summertime when it's warm, I'll sit out there on the porch and do live streams or do videos. So that tree, I cleared the ground around it so it didn't have grass around it, and I put in soil and I put a little fence around it, and I put flowers out there. I put tulips. Although the tulips, I think the bulbs are dead this year. I didn't see them come up. Tulips, daffodils, and some other stuff. And they're all blooming right now, minus the tulips. So I have to go out and take photos of that. My knees are tired. Sorry to hear that, Virtual Western State. How pathetic of UK to question visitation motives when they allow 10 trillion Islamic extremists. Yes, I agree. It's me again. I've been stopped repeatedly coming into the UK, and they don't see my passport. Now, bear in mind that I was clean shaven. And the first time this happened, I was traveling on a diplomatic passport. I've been stopped at UK immigration by those annoying, snarky little shithead people that work at those machines. And not all of them are like that, but some of them. So I came through, and they, I went through immigration, transiting London, Heathrow. I wasn't even staying in Heathrow. I transited, so came off a flight from the US, got off, switched over to get another flight to go to Germany. And what happened was I had to go through the scanner again. When I went through the scanner, they're like, your bag weighs too much. Okay, the security people, their job is not to check the weight of the bag. That's the airline. I'd already been to the airline, but I bought a few things in the shop, to take with me. And then I'm going through, and they're like, your bag weighs too much. There's too much in there. Let's see it. So I opened up, and they're like, you can't take this much stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not the airline. You don't govern the flight. You're just your security guard who's making sure there's nothing dangerous here. So they got all snippy with me. I was wearing shorts. So I had clothing in there in case my bag didn't make it, because sometimes it doesn't make it. I was going to Africa, so I went through Germany. So I opened up the bag and stood there right in front of him, and I put my trousers on over top my shorts. I took my shirt that was in the bag, I threw it on over top my t-shirt, and then I took out of the bag, I took my power supply that was in the bag, I put it in my vest, my hunter vest. Then I took a bunch of things that weigh things inside there that were electronics. I put them, my spare phone, in my vest. I loaded my stuff, and she just making these faces as if I was taking money out of her pocket. Nasty people at UK immigration. Nasty, nasty people. Yeah. Now look, we're not much better. We're more polite, but you still get a hard time. I mean, getting in America can be very challenging at times. I've been held up getting in America, and I'm a freaking American. A diplomat carrying a diplomatic passport, a military officer, one of the most trusted people in the country, and I've come in the country and been given the 3rd degree. Yep. I had a cactus in here that bloomed at odd times of the year. Buffalo beard oil. I don't use that. Well, it's not rude. My mustache does its own thing. I have to brush it. Otherwise, it likes to do its own thing. So this side here is fine, but this side here likes to curve over and come back like this. So it doesn't look symmetrical. So I have to brush it and make sure it comes out. So there you go. Otherwise, it gets straight. It does its own thing. But most people don't notice when the beard is thicker. This beard was puffier out here. I've trimmed it back. It's not just shorter, but it's also narrower. When it's bigger, you don't notice this because it fills up in the beard. So, all right, they scam me and say, "Woo!" Security forced me to throw away an 800 Rand ups because they refused to keep it in storage until I return. Wow. No, they don't want to bribe. They love the power of being South Asians, people of color, that they can do against Anglo-Saxons. I mean, it's our frickin' country. We founded it between the Danes and the Frisians and the Norwegians and the Celts and even the Romans. We founded Great Britain. And, so they just like the power they have over white folks. Because every single one of them that's done it to me has been a South Asian. The white folks there never do that to me. Every time. It's just racist is what it is. But, whatever. It's their country. They want to be racist. They can be racist. I can't control them. So I went through Namibia on Monday. Had a lot of problems with their immigration. Wow. The beard votes are disappointing, says Real Wesley Smith. Why are they disappointing? Oh, it's frozen again. My tab. I got to get another tab open here. Come on. Live. Come on. We had 24,000 people watch last night's live stream. That's pretty wild. Why is it disappointing, Real Wesley? Do you want the beard gone? How many votes did we get on this thing? 490. I'll wait till we get 500 votes, then I'll turn it off. Yes, but they could have stored it, which they admitted they could have done when they issued a formal complaint. Yeah, because they're just assholes. 2 hours of questions from First With USA. Yeah, Blackcurrant, but you're not alone. They do it to Americans. I'm an American, and sometimes getting here, it's very difficult. I don't know, Real Wesley Smith. I haven't looked outside today. I've been busy since the moment I got up. I went to bed like at 4 or 5 o'clock, and I slept in for a few hours, and then got up. I did the rugby I had less than 2 hours sleep for the rugby, and then after the rugby, I took a short nap so I'd be fresh for the Davy Root broadcast. Yeah, it also has something to do with where I sleep. I tend to sleep, like that, so it probably affects that. Without fail, to get pulled aside airports must be my face, says Leilu. Yeah, I don't know. Delaware. Okay, 500 votes. Got it. All right, it stayed consistent. Nothing changed in the stats there. It was the same. They searched me and then the wheelchair. Yeah, I've been to Hong Kong, but just transiting it. And that was terrible. There was no decent food to eat. There wasn't McDonald's. That was it. I had to eat McDonald's. If I remember correctly, it was McDonald's. Maybe it wasn't McDonald's, just something that looked like McDonald's. But there was no decent food there. I was coming from New Zealand after the Rugby World Cup in 2011, headed back to Germany. And I had to fly back to London, then on to Germany with Cathay Pacific. From New Zealand to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong back. I don't remember if I flew Cathay Pacific all the way back from Hong Kong or if it was British Air. I don't recall. But yeah. Savage Daughter says, I thought moving to the UK would be better for an English white girl. Wrong. You are correct. That is wrong. Definitely. Oh, Wesley thinks the poll's rigged. I have no control over it. I gave the UPS an airport cleaner. Didn't know what it was. That's funny. Steve can't go to Zimbabwe. Yeah, I'm not surprised because your family was there. Neat trim and thinning, says Kay's Garden. Okay, well, you're a little far away with the scissors, the shears. Oh, genetics definitely play a role. I mean, look, this is male pattern baldness is not here. That's all. That's the real deal, baby. Thank goodness. Very happy about that. I got dealt a good hand there. Yep, got dealt a good hand. So anyway, yep. So I don't wear hats to cover up stuff. I wear hats to advertise and show off things. Yep. America can politely ask you not to bring 2 pairs of underwear. I don't know what that's all about. Works as stewardess for Cathay Pacific. Okay. All right. Good night, Aaron Smulamond. I wonder what the future looks like for the UK. I think, like us, they need to separate and have more self-governance, not a big government. I think UK needs to get control over its illegal immigrants and kick them out of the country. I think that's what they need to do. Yep. Furry Toes is losing hair at age 21. Oof. You'll make women jealous with that, man. Yeah, Johan. Yes, the voters and the trimmers are in coalition, so half of the beard needs to go. The other half needs to be trimmed. I think the don't shave and the trim will probably team up quicker. Nicola Ledsley from England to test how privileged I am. I scored minus 20 from a South African point of view. Worst treatment airport we had was New Zealand. Best was Abu Dhabi. Yeah, Levin, in Auckland, I was treated not pretty shabbily, but it's kind of annoying. So when I landed in Auckland, that was the night that Australia was beating Ireland. Or Ireland was beating Australia, excuse me. Ireland beat Australia. And thank you, Dutchman, for subscribing. So Ireland was beating Australia, I think it was 15-9 or something like that. Anyway, I came through and I had a brand new pair of hiking boots. I'd never worn them. And I bought them just to go to New Zealand because I figured I'd do some hiking there during the World Cup. So they were still in the box, in my suitcase, untouched. The rubber smell fresh. You could see there's no dirt on them. So I go through and they ask me, do I have any boots or hiking boots or stuff like that? I said, yeah, it's in the suitcase. Open it up. So I open up my suitcase. They take them out. I mean, they damn near gave my brand new pair of hiking boots a body cavity search. They're looking through and sticking their hands in there, looking it up. It was unbelievable. I'm like, dude, you can see they're brand new. They've never been worn. They're terrified that alien organisms will find their way into New Zealand. Well, they already have. You can't stop that, man. Your cats have eaten a bunch of the kiwi eggs. That's one reason why kiwis are nearly extinct. Peter says, when I was young, I wished to have white sides and no gray on top. I now have gray sides and nothing on top. When I was young, I thought that going gray would be cool, but I wanted to go gray just on the temples. I thought that here would looks very distinguished on a man. Keep the hair. Well, it turns out I wound up with, a lot of dark hair, but now I've got a lot of salt and pepper, so not quite white yet. Ireland is a disaster, Stephen Norkey. The country's gone. They're attacking the Irish in the streets. They're committing fights. There's stabbings going on all over the place. It's out of control. 25% of the population of Ireland isn't from Ireland, and that's a problem. It's a social problem. And these are people that don't have values. Their values are the antithesis of Irish values. Ireland is gone. I don't know if they can save their country, short of deportations. Blackcurrant asked my opinion of the leader of the Burkina Faso. Well, it's a military junta, Blackcurrant. I don't like Burkina Faso's government any more than I like Niger's or Mali's. They are all illegitimate governments. They need to go. They need to go. It's a boot. No, it's an effing boot. Yeah. So I do remember that question from previous stream. Thank you for asking again. Oh, Van's on the phone. Van, with all these super chats and all these memberships you're doing, you rely on a phone? How's the VAT increase in South Africa going through in May? Yes, it is. And then I mentioned that. I covered that. The news media barely covered that topic. It doesn't matter. The quirk in law allows the finance minister to make a statement at that speech, and he says the VAT's going up, and then it goes up unless there's a law that changes. So it's going up May 1st. It's baked in unless they pass a law before May 1st, which seems unlikely. UK's in worse state than Ireland. Nope, R1. Nope, Ireland's in worse state at this stage. It's just not being covered. There's a couple really good Twitter accounts and TikTok channels that cover it and show you all the stuff that's going on. Yeah, Ireland is crawling with Islamic extremists. Ireland is crawling with people from all over the world who have no Irish values, who are shitting all over the place and crapping on the country. Entire village has been displaced. Towns in Western Ireland near the Gael Tract, which is where the Irish Gaelic is spoken, are in danger of being destroyed. I mean, they've dumped these people in tents on the sidewalks. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, let me see if I can find that channel on Twitter, if it shows up in my feed real quick. Okay. Usually it shows up here somewhere pretty quickly, the one I'm talking about. I'm looking here, it hasn't shown up yet. Libs of TikTok keep showing up. Or Mashaba. All right, let me just go ahead and put Ireland on here. I'll just search for Ireland, see if it shows up. Maybe it'll show up with a search term. Conor McGregor. Michael O'Keefe, that's the account. Here you go. There are towns in Ireland been overrun and one. So Michael O'Keefe is the account. And let me just show you what he puts on here. So this is the Garda. Now this isn't his video, it's someone else's. This is in Ireland.
You know, our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland. And it's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland is a travesty. Our government is the government of zero action with zero accountability. You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed, and the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, because if not, there will be no place to come home and visit. You know, our government has long since abandoned the...
So that was Conor McGregor saying that, the backdrop for that. So Michael O'Keefe, let's go to his account. I'll give you the link. He's got 26,000 posts. This is Mick O'Keefe. So this is his account if you want to follow it on Twitter. He covers Ireland. He's not the only one. Oh, that's nothing, man. You should see all the stuff going on in Ireland. I've been following this for a long time. So listen to this garbage here. This is Fiona O'Loughlin. This is a member of the Irish Parliament.
While it's true that the Irish have known a fair share of oppression, the reality is during that oppression we still maintained our invisibility cloak of white privilege.
And we often hear about white privilege, and it hadn't really occurred to me that I had white privilege as well, but now, listening to you, I understand that I do have a privilege.
I think we shouldn't forget that our Parliament still looks very male, very stale and pale.
Of course you can say that. You're a middle-class white man. So you view the law completely different to somebody who is a traveller, to somebody who is uneducated, to somebody who's maybe a member of the Roma community. So it is very, very different. You know that the law doesn't...
So why are the Roma in Ireland? They come from India and they inhabit Eastern Europe. Why are they in Ireland? This says Irish revolutionaries didn't die for this. So I got to put on mute so I don't get a copyright. Watch what she does. I got myself an Irish passport. I'm going to breed uncontrollably. We're going to take over this island. That's what she's telling the world. That's what she's telling the world. She's all excited she got herself an Irish passport. The Ireland is the most dystopian country on the planet. The government is launching a scheme to train hairdressers and barbers how to lecture people on climate change to transform their customers into climate activists. I'm not making this up. Cutting emissions. Hairdressers and barbers will be trained to talk to climate with customers. Can I get a cut, blow dry, and a crash course in climate, please? That could be the request in salons across the country under a scheme that aims to train hairdressers and barbers to get conversations going about one of the most hair-raising issues facing humanity, climate change. Wow. So just when you thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, the Irish government is using taxpayer-funded funds to pay African students to relocate to Ireland. This is what the government of Ireland is doing with Irish money.
Have you heard about the Government of Ireland International Education Scholarship? I bet you have not. So the Government of Ireland is offering international scholarship to students who would want to study NVQ 9 or 10, Masters, Postgraduate Diploma, or even PhD. So on this scholarship, you get a stipend of 10,000 euros for 1 year. You get a fee waiver, that is your tuition fee is settled, and successful candidates are expected to commence this year, September or October 20.
So you get to come to Ireland. You come to Ireland from Africa. We give you 10,000 euros to come here and breed the white people out of existence. The replacement theory, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, it's bullshit, huh? Irish government outsourced the care of vulnerable children to an African migrant with a fraud conviction. They paid him 10 million euros even after learning about his conviction. Here we have outside a former nursing home that has been converted into migrant accommodation. An Irish man refused to back down from an aggressive migrant. So this is a confrontation outside a nursing home that's been taken from the elderly.
What do?
What?
What?
Touch me camera and I'll blade and knock it out. You
what camera?
Touch me camera and I'll knock it out. Get your hands on.
What camera? What camera?
Get your hands on.
What camera?
Get your hands on.
القردة.
Where you from?
هنا القردة.
Where you from?
شو دخلك؟
Where you from?
شو دخلك؟ شو دخلك؟
Where you from? Hey.
Hey,
where you from?
القردة يا زلمة.
Where you from?
What?
Get the f*** out of my face, man. Get out of my face. Get the f*** out of my face. Where you from, buddy? You're lucky I have my camera on you. This camera's for your protection. Hey, where you from? Where you from? You enjoying the free money? Are you? You enjoying the free money? Yalla, yalla, you. Where you from?
Yeah, so that scumbag comes out of the nursing home where he's in a public space recording things in public, perfectly legal, and he comes over and gets in his face and threatens him. And the only word he knows in English is Garda, which is police. You're not police, go away. So the Irish government made migrant plantations exempt from planning laws 2 years ago. In other words, they do what they want with their rubbish. But now they're sending bureaucrats to the front doors of Irish people demanding to inspect what they're putting in their garage. So these people are putting people in the tens and dozens in homes in places in Ireland, and they're exempt so they can get away with the overpopulation, the danger, until there's a fire and 35 people die. Then they'll do it. But this is a bureaucrat asking what people have in their garage. None of their damn business.
Hello.
Fingal County Council.
Yeah.
There was a letter sent down the post just regarding carrying out an inspection today.
Yeah.
Just wondering if we can carry out the inspection.
Well, who's the authorised officer? I can't read that.
I'm an authorised officer.
No, but who wrote that?
Who wrote that letter?
Yeah.
I can't tell by that signature, to be honest. It'd be someone from the admin team in the office.
Oh yeah, I'd have to know who it was.
Can I ask you to stop recording me, please?
No, you're on our private property.
We're not on private, this is public property.
Okay, so now let me ask you, what's the complaint? What's the complaint?
Does it say in the letter, no?
No, it doesn't say in the letter. Just that you have concerns about the lands.
There was a warning letter issued in the past just regarding the garbage being used for human habitation.
Well, I didn't get that. I didn't. And so, what if it's human habitation?
There was the permission for the garage.
I don't need permission to do whatever I want with my garage.
You do?
No, I don't. Who made you the boss?
It's
Who made you the boss of me?
legislation.
Pardon?
Planning legislation.
I don't care about legislation. It's my private property. You're not coming around here bullying me, who lives in my garage, okay?
Sorry, can I just confirm you're not giving us access to the...
Absolutely not. I don't know you from Adam.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. I don't know you from Adam. Well done, lady. Don't be bullied by these people. And here's the planning exemption for migrant plantations. Okay, here you go. So these immigrants, they're not subjected to this. Only the Irish are. Tell them to feck off. Yep. There you go. So notice of making the statutory was published in July 2023, and it exempts these places. Temporary use. Anyway, that's all kind of mixed up together. That's the actual legislation that was passed so that the migrants don't have to be, you can't answer their questions. So I don't know what this one is. Let's play this one here.
I know a lot of people feel demoralised, they feel lost, they feel like there's no hope in this.
All right, with the music, I'm not going to play that. So here they go again with the passports. They're not here to enrich the societies. They're here to take over, is what this one says. Yeah, check this out.
You are never getting your country back. You're never getting your country back.
Yeah, no, they're just here to enrich the society. That's the bottom line, right?
You're never.
Yep. 3,150 homeless male migrants living in tent cities around Dublin. Yep. Using the Garda force migrant plantations and communities across the country, the government has created an environment where nobody trusts the Garda. But using masked African migrants as security guards alongside Garda leaves Irish people feeling completely terrorized, says this statement here. Okay? So this is Irish here. We'll play this for a couple seconds. This is Irish. A lot less of that going on in Ireland today. Flees Africa, comes to Ireland, claims asylum, obtains Irish travel document, immediately returns to Africa. We're having a piss taken out of us by people who know our country is a treasure island for migrants. So this lady got her papers, came to Ireland. So she's going back to Africa now that she's got her papers to say she's Irish. This is what's been going on for decades, and the world's been ignoring it. And if you say it, you're racist. Well, you're not racist. You're simply pointing out the facts. But the Irish did take the streets again recently. This took place a few days ago in Ireland. Irish marching for Ireland. It's what white guilt gets you. That's exactly right. Yep. 20, 30 years ago, you might not ever see a foreigner. Now they're everywhere. Here's Afghan soldiers walking around Dublin like they own the place. They're soldiers, according to this claim. Look at that. Dublin. Doesn't look very Irish to me. Well, so I say they get what they deserve. They elected these fools in socialism, and they get what they deserve. He says, I feel bad for American tourists who have to wait, you say, for years to journey back to their ancestral homeland, but then they arrive at cherished sites of the cliffs and more, only to find overrun with Afghan asylum seekers. Why are there any Afghan asylum seekers? Countries at peace. That's the cliffs and more. Yep. So here you go. This is a Somali immigrant. He says he's a lawyer is helping him get his wife and 7 kids to Ireland.
Wife, kids?
Wife, family, Somalia.
In Somalia, yes?
Somalia.
So how many, yeah?
7 children.
7 children. Very good. And how many wives? Just only wife. Just only one wife, yeah? And what? They come to Ireland, yes? When?
Lawyer. Down.
So why did you choose Ireland?
Ireland, 2 years. 2 years.
You travel or you waiting 2 years?
No, no travel.
No?
No travel.
So where you been before you came to Ireland? Where have you been? In France or?
No.
No. Just in Somalia?
Ireland and Somalia and
now his 7 kids and wife are coming there. So this was on Irish News, RTE News. Yeah, I saw this one too.
Dr. Ebon Joseph was announced as the special rapporteur who will help implement that plan, and she joins us now in studio. Thank you so much for coming in to speak to us on 6-1. You've said in the past that racism is rampant in Ireland. Do you think it's getting worse, and if so, why?
It is getting worse, and thank you so much for inviting me here today. And it is getting worse, and it is because a lot of organizations and groups have actually gone out to maybe include more people within their organizations. You know, there's more opportunities for contact. But what is happening is that there are no laws to protect people. People are brought into offices, institutions that are not diverse. So we've not done that work. We've not trained people. And we can't expect our nation to be non-racist if we have not enabled people, we've not trained them, you know, how to be non-racist. So those are key things.
What the fuck is she talking about? Diversity. It's Irish. They were all white 30 years ago. What diversity do you want? That's like the moron, former leader of the Scottish Parliament, complaining that the judges, the police, the military, everybody in Ireland, or everybody in Scotland's white. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They're Scots. Wow. Ireland's gone, folks. It's been gone for a long time. People are just now waking up to it. Brainwashing people. This is what happened. Did you see the one where I showed in Wales, where they took prepubescent Welsh girls and had them promote diversity and encouraging Afghans and Africans to migrate to Wales to help it become more diversified? Nobody's encouraging white folks to go to, or Welsh to go to Wales or to Afghanistan, diversify it. Unbelievable. Well, you can't say it in the UK. You can say it in Ireland. That's why you don't see much of this from the UK anymore, because they're putting people in prison for reporting the facts. That's what you do when you put the world in lockdown. Nothing gets done. Yep. 2020 broke the world. Yeah, the Japanese have had enough too. Thanks for your dedication time. So sad about Ireland. Yep. God can't even speak English, gets admitted to majority English country. Yeah. And then the Irish are called racist because they're not diverse enough. They don't learn his language from Somalia. Or they brainwash kids and teach them to pray for Islam, which they're doing in schools. It's ridiculous. Hey, Milo Brits. Yep, Curiosity Nuggets has a few friends in Ireland. It's a sad place. Now it is. 1 in 4 people in Ireland are not Irish. Yeah, what's happening in this world? Yep. Yep. It's a crazy world, isn't it? Crazy world. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Despite the fact we have 500 viewers, I need to wrap it up here. I need to get busy on the taxes. All righty? So y'all take care. And the Somalian won't integrate. He will not assimilate. He will not add his unique cultural diversity to Ireland. He'll demand this, he'll demand that, and he'll get it. Just like in England. When I'm born and raised by Afrikaners, I speak Afrikaans in my home country. There you go. All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks for being here. And I hope you enjoyed the news. All right. But yeah, you think Ireland's a place to go? No. Norway, 16% of Norway, foreigners. 16%. Sweden, I don't know the percentages, but it's high. Even Finland, they're pouring into Finland. Helped by Putin, who pushed them to the border to go into Finland. Unbelievable. All right. Clear. Cheers, everybody.